Sawadee Cup and welcome to another episode of Wrestling Wednesday here on the Funky Pod. It's the weekend and you know what that means. And this week was loaded with wrestling goodness, badness, surprises. I think that's what we can agree on. So let's not waste any time, jump into what happened, but it's not just a rundown of what happened, but also looking at does it make sense? Storytelling, yay or nay? So let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into AEW because they always set the pace, at least for this podcast, because Raw is still banned. Raw is still banned from my podcast. I always reevaluate after pay-per-views. If I see the Raw segment of the pay-per-views, should I add Raw again? And well, let's see. Let's see to which judgment we might come after this week's podcast. Okay, let's jump into what happened first at AEW and then, of course, also WWE. So AEW started on Wednesday with AEW Dynamite, and we saw Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, two wild things walking towards the ring just to be assaulted by 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, which I still think is a very weird combination. I do understand how they fit together and that they work well together, but this obsession of 2.0 with Dan Garcia is just kind of weird. Anyways, they ambushed them, of course, took Moxley out, took his leg out basically with a lead pipe, and then they double teamed Eddie Kingston and then said, we don't want to wait any longer, we are calling out Sting and Darby Allin, which led us to a Texas Tornado match. So before we jump into this, does it make sense? Well, they are the newbies, and they also keep kayfabe on social media, of course. Like, I think Dan Garcia tweeted, the last 15 years have been Moxley's years, the next 15 are mine, or something like this. And he's like, Moxley's the old guy, I'm the new guy, I'm going to take over. That's what Dan Garcia is all about, and 2.0 basically as well. So this led us then now to the Texas Tornado match between the Icon, Sting and Darby Allin versus 2.0, Jeff Park and Matt Lee. And this was, of course, pretty cool because they are a good tag team, 2.0. But when you're facing the Stinger, and the Stinger making his first in-ring appearance in 125 years, it didn't look that bad. He hit the Stinger splash, which was nice. Of course, most of the work done by Darby Allin. Sting just with some of the high impact, or not high impact, but with some of the highlight moves, of course. Some of his arsenal, the Stinger splash, the double scorpion death drop, and then the double scorpion. The death lock, I think so, right? So congratulations, Sting. The 2.0 looked a bit weak, like tapping out like this, but okay, well done, Sting and Darby Allin. Story-wise, okay, they got called out. They showed him who's the boss. I can follow that somehow, even though they wouldn't have had to accept it, because like, why would they accept like those newbies in AEW terms? But okay. Then what did else? Oh yeah, we saw a clip breaking kayfabe, kind of. Sammy Guevara proposing to his girlfriend in the ring, and she said yes. Oh, heartbreak. Oh, nice. She's clearly not a wrestler, by the way. What else do we have? Then we saw Sammy Guevara in action against the German Sean Spears, which was kind of nice. They always have good matches. They work well together. It gets a bit old now that it's always them fighting each other, but they do have chemistry. Best spot, of course, is both are on the turnbuckle. Sean Spears shows Sammy Guevara what he thinks of him with the middle finger in his face, and then Sammy Guevara with a high-risk maneuver off the top rope, and eventually also picking up the victory over the German. Always good matches. I think now story-wise we should move on because they've been fighting each other so many times. But yeah, it's fun to watch. But when you think about why it's happening, time to move on maybe. One of the worst things of the night from my point of view, and I'm a MMA fan, I train, I'm a UFC fan, but then Dan Lambert of the American Top Team came, and who had he with him? Junior Dos Santos, JDS, and Andrei Arlovski, I think, like, so two old school heavyweight contenders, former UFC champions, and he had them with him in the ring. They didn't say anything, they're just standing there like the muscle. But when you go to a wrestling show, you're not big anymore as a UFC fighter, right? Because wrestling guys are big. So anyways, he was running his mouth quite a bit, and he's just, I don't think that he's good at that. It's like he seems like an angry, and no offense, he seems like an angry redneck kind of thing. And I don't mean this like, I know, insulting towards people who might be called rednecks. Oh God, I'm getting cancelled after this. I just mean he just sounds angry, but he's not selling anything for me. I don't know, maybe it's his voice, it's the way he presents himself, the way he tries to sell stuff. I don't know. I don't like it. It's cool that he's so much into it, but it's just, I know, it just doesn't click for me, unfortunately. Because I want it to click, because as I said, I'm an MMA fan. American Top Team is super famous, so I wish that he would be better at that, at least for me. We then had a tag team championship match between the Young Bucks, with everybody involved, of course. The Good Brothers, Brandon Cutler, Don Callis, their moms, everybody, versus Jurassic Express. Of course, this was a good match. Of course, all of the people involved put up like a great fight, but of course it ends exactly the way we expect it to end. Funnily enough, like previously we saw Jungle Boy with some cold spray, which was like, hey, I know what's going to happen. So this is nice, those references, storytelling-wise. I like that. So that makes sense. I like it. It also makes sense that the Young Bucks retained the titles, I guess, until a big pay-per-view at some point. Yeah, I think Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are like always that close, but you never take them that seriously anyways as contenders. You know they're going to lose. Nevertheless, it was a good match. It did make sense, and of course, like all the shenanigans again that then led to Jurassic Express losing, no big problem with that. Yeah, we can further the feud between all of them. Actually, later on, we also saw backstage, we saw Tony Schiavone with the Elite and telling them that Tony Khan made a decision that they have to defend their titles at All Out in a steel cage match so that no one can interfere there. And of course, they were angry about that. We then also saw like a women's match again, super bad. Penelope Ford versus Thunder Rosa, and Penelope Ford had lots of offense, even sunk in some submissions, but Thunder Rosa was able to wiggle out, fight out, hit her own submission on Penelope Ford, and then Penelope Ford had to tap out. That was a decent back and forth. Like, we don't really know why they fought, just because they're mad, angry, I don't know. That's always the case in the women's division a little bit, because it's not that stacked. But it was a decent match for it was. Could have been more storytelling, yes. Then we had the main event, Labor of Jericho, number 5, the 5th Labor, and best entrance in wrestling history ever. Because MJF, as we remember, said, stipulation, you're not allowed to have anything Judas or no Judas effect, and also no Judas music, and of course that's unnecessary. Chris Jericho comes out, the whole audience screams the whole song, the whole lyrics, and of course AW prepared this, of course there were lyrics in the audience and so on, yeah, of course, but it's still cool. Like, everyone was singing Judas in my mind, which was like goosebumps time, fantastic. Like, this was amazing. Great storytelling. We knew that's going to happen, but it's still awesome to see that it happens, and the way how it happens. So this was fantastic. I got goosebumps, and that's what you want from professional wrestling. That's why we watch it, right? So that was amazing. Well done. The match itself was also quite cool. Jericho being tired because he had those 4 tough weeks of matches leading up to it. Makes sense. I like it. Longish-term storytelling. Him being desperate, going for like high impact moves, like off the top rope and stuff like this, also makes sense. I liked it too. What I then didn't like was, like so many other people, was the ending. Because in the end, I mean, MJF tries to put the ring on his finger and try to strike him, but the ref sees it, talks with MJF, just like we had it last week, and then Jericho grabs Floyd, hits MJF with Floyd, throws Floyd out, but cannot finish him because he goes for the Judas effect, and he realizes, oh, he's not allowed to do it, and that's enough for MJF to counter, hit Salt of the Earth, and make Jericho tap out. So I have no problem with MJF winning. He probably should go over on Jericho at this stage of both of their respective careers. No problem. I also like the storytelling. What I didn't like is that Jericho uses Floyd, hits MJF with Floyd. So the babyface uses a heelish tactic to hit the heel, and then loses to the heel clean. It was a bit of a letdown. Like, why not let MJF hit or land the punch with the ring or something like this, just to add fire to the heelishness? Now the heel won kind of clean, so should I be rooting for the heel who overcame the Floyd attack by the babyface? I mean, they try to make MJF look even stronger. Yes, good. Still think sometimes, like in this, and like two high profile, high level superstars go at each other, maybe then let the heel be a heel. Anyways, a great match up until this point. Storytelling also made sense. They dragged it out for a long time. I appreciate this long-term storytelling. Really fun. Good job. I enjoyed it. Thank you, AW. I just said best entrance ever in wrestling, and then this. I wasn't even the biggest comeback, but compared to maybe Edge or so, but still a fantastic pop. Of course, Rampage starts, AW Rampage in Chicago, United Center. You know what's happening. And AW knew what the people want, and they gave it to them right away. They didn't wait until the end, because of course the whole audience was just chanting CM Punk, and AW is like, you want CM Punk? You got CM Punk. And out comes CM Punk to an insane pop. 7 years after his last match, insanity. Looking at Punk, we've all gotten oldish. Fantastic promo. He enjoyed it. He jumped in the crowd on his entrance. Like, it's nice to see that he's actually also happy to be back. He cuts a promo. He sits down like pipe bomb style in the ring, cross-legged. He says, for him, in his mind, he left professional wrestling in 2005. That's when he left Ring of Honor to go to WWE. And August 2021, he's back in professional wrestling. And the crowd goes like, yeah. And he says he's sorry if any of his decisions hurt anyone or made anyone doubt him or whatever. But he had to do those things to get healthy. He couldn't stay at a place that made him unhealthy. Enter the memes that show like Dana White saying, yeah, we know Punk, that's why we fired you. But yeah, good promo. Punk is back, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Like, also goosebumps time. And he's gonna be in action soon. He challenged Darby Allin at All Out. That should be a fun match. So yeah, cool. CM Punk. He's back. Awesome. We had matches too on Rampage, by the way. Wild Thing. Jon Moxley wanted revenge on Daniel Garcia, and revenge he got. He was beating down Garcia. Garcia was hanging in, even countering in between, but Jon Moxley was just enough. Too much. The brawling was too much. He won a submission, like a pretty easy submission, actually. Like a bulldog joke or something. Still, yeah, good match, back and forth a little bit, but Moxley clearly the dominant fighter. Storytelling here made sense. They attacked him. He wants revenge. He goes for it. He doesn't care about looking good or anything. He just wants to beat him down. That makes sense. Afterwards, then 2.0, of course, attacked Moxley, but Sting and Darby Allin and Eddie Kingston, obviously, helped Mox to fight them off. Nice. We then saw Jade Cargill versus Kiera Hogan, and they hyped Kiera Hogan a bit before, so I thought, they hype her that much. Maybe she gets something in. No. Jade Cargill just ran through her really, really fast, but Jade Cargill is like twice the size of Kiera Hogan, so that also makes sense. Congratulations, Jade Cargill. Let's see who gives her a good fight. Who's going to be the first one to put up a fight? Lastly, then, we had the tag team eliminator match for who can face the Young Bucks in the steel cage at All Out, and it was Jurassic Express versus Private Party, and of course Jurassic Express. That was a good match, by the way. Jurassic Express managed to pick up the victory with a nice match. Clearly, Jurassic Express was better. Luchasaurus was just dominating. But it was a fun match, so that also made sense. It made sense that the made a stipulation because of all the interferences. It made sense that Jurassic Express was like motivated, like we want one more shot at them, a fair shot at them, and now they are one step closer to getting this. Makes sense. I like it. So this week AEW was fun to watch. Not nothing really dragged or lagged. Storytelling mostly made sense. I'm all for it. So well done, AW. That was fun this week. Let's talk about WWE. Let's talk quickly about the last SmackDown before the biggest party of the summer. SmackDown Friday, of course, final face-off between John Cena and Roman Reigns, blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. Yeah, we are all... You're gonna see. Okay, yeah, nice. They just ran through all the promos they cut on each other before. Bit boring, bit rehashing, but I mean, that's what happens on the day before a big event. Same thing happened with Seth Rollins and Edge, like, you made me go to a place that I didn't even want to go to, but now I like it. And so Brute Edge is back. It's like all red and fire, and then some goo comes from the top, dropping on Mr. Drip. Yeah, Brute memories. So it's just really intense. Edge being intense, so it just makes us wait for SummerSlam. Like, what's gonna happen at SummerSlam? Okay. Well, as we had then Jey Uso versus Rey Mysterio, and of course Dominic interfered. He tried to interfere, but the ref caught him. He tried to support his dad again, like what he did like a few weeks ago. The ref caught him, sent Dominic out, and this then led to the Usos getting the upper hand and winning this one. So we're working slowly towards a split between the Mysterios. We then had Baron Corbin and Kevin Owens, and Baron Corbin won because Big E came out and just beat down Baron Corbin, which leads to a DQ, of course. We had Shotzi Black. Makes sense, by the way. He stole the briefcase, so Big E is like, I don't care about matches, I'm going to beat you down now. Kevin Owens didn't want to fight him anyway, so he's like, whatever, you just take it. That makes sense. Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus Tamina and Natalya one more time. Kinda actually was like more like a one-on-one between Shotzi and Tamina. Natalya, whatever. Shotzi pinned Natalya. Congratulations. Fun. They're good. Let's move on. We've seen this now 3 or 4 times. So, okay, storytelling. We won back and forth. We want one more. You was a fluke answer on okay, but now 4 or 5 times. It's enough. Let's move on. We had Otis versus Montez Ford, and Otis manhandled Montez Ford and with the huge Vader bomb and just finished him. He looks a bit like Vader, by the way. Just give him like his face mask. He looks like Vader. It was surprising. Not sure what I make of this. Like they're like, hey, Montez Ford is back. He just gets manhandled. Strange. I'm still not a big fan because it doesn't look like they know where to go with the Alpha Academy. So yeah, Montez Ford is basically is a superstar just in the waiting, right? I'm not sure what they do. I'm all for Chad Gable, but I still don't know where they're going with this. We then had Rick Books. I'm also not a big fan of this. This is way too cheesy, way too... and Kinsuke Nakamura versus Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. And Rick Books and Shinsuke Nakamura actually win. Like a pump handle slam by Rick Books on Crews. And that's it. What did Apollo Crews do to piss off the people in the back? He's being like handed around. Like he lost last week clean. He loses this week clean. What did he do? Not a big fan of this again. While I like Shinsuke, of course, but like I don't like the Rick Books gimmick. That's but okay, it's for the kids. But like now, basically just chopping out Crews all the time after him being like so dominant without any change. Like that doesn't make sense. Does not make any sense. We then have Bianca Belair defeating Selena Vega, of course. Getting ready for SummerSlam event with Sasha Banks, of course. Bianca also defeated Carmella then, of course. And it's like, I'm ready, Sasha, and so on. So yeah, this is the, I don't know, like feeling like those contenders to her, like makes her look strong for the moment, but it really devaluates those contenders. Anyways, this leads us to the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. And it started off with a Big E versus Baron Corbin. Corbin clinching the briefcase, of course, coming out. People in the audience giving like $1 bills. That was kind of funny. Yeah, but Big E did dismantle Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin tried to run away in between, but Big E was just, there was no doubt that Big E would take this, of course. We then had makes sense, right? Storytelling wise, makes sense. He gets his briefcase back. Baron Corbin gets beaten down even further, makes sense. Tag Team Championships, AJ Styles and Omos versus RK Bro. Storytelling wise, I mean, I only follow like what I see in the highlights because I don't watch Raw. But so Riddle saved Randy. Randy's like, you impressed me. Okay, RK Bro is back. And then every time they were in the ring, they all, like with AJ Styles, the one who's in the ring also went at Omos and just gave him like elbow to the face, to the outside, like kick to the kneecaps. That makes sense, like just to weaken Omos. So this makes sense, storytelling wise again. In the end, they pick up the victory, and they've got new Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro. I still think this Bro gimmick is lame. But if the kids like it, and they don't know why they like it, right? Like, why is he speaking? He's funny. Why is he so funny? Parents, that doesn't matter. He's just slow. We then had Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. Terrible. Eva Marie is like terrible. She lost, yes. Luckily this time, no interference from the stupid puppet. I'm sorry for saying stupid. In the end, then also Doudrop then made fun of Eva Marie, like, and with her what is it, the Texas accent or whatever, and the loser is, I hate everything about that, everything terrible, I hate it. Oh, go away. I don't even care about storytelling. Make them go. There's no story with Eva Marie. Make it go away. United States Championship match: Sheamus versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest being heelish. The second time in a row that he eventually tears off Sheamus' protective mask and then just goes right for his face. That's not a nice thing to do, Damian Priest. Stop celebrating your new US championship. Good match though, like tough back and forth, like hard-hitting contestants. Nice once in a while, of course. A bad spot in between with like the Priest seemed to get really hurt, but they both worked through it. So great match, well done. That was good. Made sense that he's desperate and goes for the face thingy. Is he a hardcore heel now though? What is Bad Bunny gonna say about that? SmackDown Tag Team Championships: The Mysterios versus the Usos. Take 7,000. Sometimes you still can see that like Dominic isn't quite there. It's, like Ray still carries like some of the smooth transitions and so on. And again, Dominic, it's a work, right? He's getting distracted. He's not all there, which lets the Usos gain the upper hand again. And well, eventually leads to the Usos with like a double super kick and then a frog splash, Uso splash, picking up the victory. So congratulations. That match was fine. It was fine. It's just, we've seen it like 1,000 times now. I'm done with let's break up the Mysterios. So shall we? I don't know. But it's father and son, so it's not, they still break it up, right? But it's still, we don't want to see more of that. It's enough now, I think. Then SmackDown Women's Championship match. Bianca Belair comes out and reports out that Sasha Banks isn't clear to wrestle. Pardon me. So, but they still run the package with Sasha Banks, and okay, is she there? Then the announcer's like, Sasha Banks not here. She's not cleared, or she can't wrestle or whatever. She's not here. Therefore, Becky, Carmella will take her place and wrestle Bianca Belair. Crowd get heat. Carmella gets heat, like boo. Okay, great. Carmella steps in the ring. Then out comes Becky Lynch. Crowd goes crazy. Yes, the man is back in Vegas. Fantastic. Crowd goes crazy. Becky just celebrates in the ring. Then just beats down Carmella, pushes her out of the ring. Like 1 second, Bianca, be right back. Just beats Carmella more up on the outside. That was funny. Comes back in the ring. It's like, yeah, I'm back and I want the championship match right now. And Bianca seems like legit happy. Like she's jumping around like, okay, that's a competition. Let's go. She seems like a fighter ready. And then Becky goes in for the handshake. Bianca like, okay, cool. Becky just punches her with an elbow to the face, throws her to the ground, pins her, and wins in 29 seconds. I've been probably one of the biggest Becky Lynch fans before she had a break, her pregnancy baby break. But this was bullshit. And the crowd was not happy. Neither was I. Neither is anyone who ever watched wrestling. This was big BS WWE. This was what you came up with this on the fly. But even if you do it on the fly, you should find something better than this. It was terrible. Luckily, the next match made completely up for it. But the storytelling-wise, doesn't make any sense what it did, right? But whatever. Next match, storytelling-wise, better. Two former best friends now adversaries. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. Also seen it 55,000 times. Two big guys going at each other. The one big guy is the big guy that the company likes more, so he beats up the other big guy. Then the Stooges try to interfere, and Drew McIntyre runs him off with his sword. This is also not good. Not as bad as like what we've seen before, but this was not good. Oh God. Luckily, the Raw Women's Championship match kind of made up for that because there was a really good match between Nikki ASH. I like that she lives her gimmick. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. They're all really good wrestlers. And even though I don't like Charlotte, obviously, and not in a like kayfabe way, I just really don't like her. And Rhea Ripley is awesome in the ring, kind of a bit weird, but she always is just like second fiddle to Charlotte, right? So Charlotte had her in a submission, they had her ready to tap, then Nikki broke it up, luckily, and eventually Charlotte was able to pin Nikki as expected and take the championship again. Now she's like a 27 times champion or something like this, whatever. But yeah, that was better. The match until then was not bad. I'm just not a big fan of giving Charlotte like 1,000 title runs. And she loses it again on Raw, and then she gets another title run. Like, what are we doing? Okay. Edge versus Seth Rollins, storytelling A. Entrance, Edge. First a Brood style entrance, and then transitioning to the Edge entrance because everyone wants to hear the music. A. Slow, methodical start, then getting more heavier, more brutal. A. Finish. A. It was fantastic. They went for their finishing maneuvers. Rollins almost hit a stomp, but Edge just turns around, catches the foot, and then reverses it into like I don't know, like a cross-face. Fantastic. That's also how he won in the end, and with a submission. Would have seen like, of course, we would have preferred like a power move or something, but it was just cool, like cerebral. Edge is back. He had like some of his old school submission locks, the education. Fantastic. It was just awesome, like some retro Edge, and that was a great match, great storytelling outside the ring. When it led up to this, now inside the ring, everything was done very, very well here. That was fantastic. Best match of the night, storytelling wise, I think. So that was great, fantastic. What was not great was the next match. It was Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. And Bobby Lashley just went after Goldberg's knee. Goldberg was just like limping around, couldn't really walk anymore. Ref waves it off, that's it. Goldberg's son comes in to check on his dad or whatever. And Bobby Lashley just hurtlock on Goldberg's 15-year-old son or whatever, throws him in the corner. And Taz is like, not Taz, MVP. Why do I always confuse them? MVP is like, oh, how should we know that this is his son? We don't know. And Goldberg is furious, realizing that what they did to his son. So this might not be over yet. Oh, it was terrible. This was terrible. Oh, God. Okay, then the last match of the night, finally. And those matches were really fast up until then. So you're like, what's going to happen with the last match? Reigns dominates Cena. Cena goes for some roll-ups and stuff because of his promos before, the 1, 2, 3 promos. Makes sense also storytelling-wise. Then Cena powers up with his like 5 moves of doom, which Reigns makes fun of because he only needs 3, of course. Yeah, that was fun. But Then eventually Cena goes for more desperate power moves, attitude adjustment from the second rope and so on. He even goes for a spear to mock Roman. Yeah. Didn't even look cool. Roman counters that, and then eventually Roman just Superman punches Cena like 3 times or 2 times and hits a spear. And then that's enough to vanquish John Cena. And now Cena can go back to China. Nice. Match was fine. It's just again like Cena with all the power moves and Roman kicks out and then Roman just hits his normal finishers on Cena. Maybe indicates that Cena isn't Super Cena anymore. Maybe he finally turns heel. Maybe not. And then Cena is disappeared, of course, because you can see him. Roman is about to celebrate. And then that's not how it goes. But you know what I mean? Brock Lesnar comes out, returns with a ponytail, looks like a Viking warrior, and that's the Brock we want to see. He comes to the ring. Paul Heyman was the best thing also about the whole match. His facial expressions on the outside when Cena hit like his 5 moves of doom. He's like, no. And every time Roman was about to pin Cena, he's like mockingly, 1, 2, like trying to mock Cena. So Paul Heyman, fantastic. And then also here when Brock comes out, Paul Heyman's face, like you've seen a ghost, like no. He slithers out of the ring. It's like, Roman, come, we go. So he's scared. Fantastic. Brock Lesnar makes all the storytelling even better. Fantastic. Brock Lesnar's back. Yeah, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Babyface Brock Lesnar. That's something new. All right, that was the rundown of what happened in wrestling this past week. Let me know what you thought about it. What do you think about SummerSlam? What do you think about AEW Rampage? Punk is back, the summer of Punk. What do you think about all those things? Hit me up on social media at funkitpod, email funkitpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this podcast, rate it wherever possible, leave a review because it really helps to get found. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Until then, don't forget to always kick out a 2 and take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Sawadee ka.